Let's see. You think the next phase of the MCU is going to be able to stand up to the past? That is an excellent question. Hopefully. It depends on a few things. It depends on the creators involved. It depends on the direction that they decide to go in. So, yeah, there's a lot riding on that in it. I think they'll be fine for where it is right now. Not this is just at this point. This is just my personal opinion. Not every single MCU film is a great film. Not every single one of them. In fact, some of them, in my opinion, kind of suck. Right. So that being said, I think that trend is going to continue on into the next, the next bit of MCU films, the next phases or whatever you want to call it. I think as far as interest goes, I don't see right now any slowing down of the interest in superhero fiction, especially Marvel's got X-Men and Fantastic Four now. They got so much more to throw in there. How can they do an Iron Man movie without Robert Downey Jr.? Well, they don't have to. They really don't. They don't have to do that anymore. Dylan, you son of a bitch, what's up, buddy? Good to see you here. But I think that I think they'll be fine. It just depends on the MCU started off and it really got strong because it had really solid creators working on these books, right? So I think that as long as they keep that up, you had James Gunn is the reason really why Guardians of the Galaxy worked so well. Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. and others are the reason why Iron Man works so well. Kevin Feige has somewhat to do with it, but as his success grows, he's going to be moved beyond that. Disney's going to want him for more than just, the Marvel stuff, right? They're going to want him. There's already been rumors and speculation that they want him to take over the Star Wars franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if this dude's the head of Disney one day. So be on the lookout for that, right? But I think as long as the MCU started off strong because they had great stories that were true to their characters, that were made by brilliant creative teams that were really committed to the process. If they continue to do that. Now, the MCU, up to this point, has already had their struggles with that. We've lost some directors. We've lost some things, some people due to creative differences and things like that, right? So I wouldn't say that the MCU is a perfect thing. As far as comic book movies go, it seems perfect because they're giving us what we've experienced for years and years and years in the comic book world is one cohesive, story, right? Everything kind of fits in. You can place it together. They're their own stories. They all tie into one big thing. That's something that we love. And that's something that's very popular right now with episodic television. That's one of the reasons why I think television, especially in the last 15, 20 years, has really risen up above movies, is because people are wanting to see something that they can invest in, a world they can get lost in. Some people view this as just escapism, and if you want to view it as just escapism, it seems like we want a more immersive escape. I'd like to view it as more of an inspirational and aspirational type thing, right? Where we're trying to see ourselves as being better, right? That's how I like to look at it. And so I think that that's good for the superhero fiction to keep growing and blossoming. There's duds. That's always been there. But if you really think about it, superhero movies have not stopped since Superman. Even you could argue that it goes before that. But since that Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman movie came out, there have been periods where they weren't in the zeitgeist. They weren't the most popular thing. But they've always been there. You know what I'm saying? And right now we're at a big peak of it. And maybe the peak is past. Maybe the peak is past with the end of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. And, we'll see what happens. But I think that the MCU's in a strong position right now. They just need to depend on really solid filmmakers and writers and producers, people that are really passionate about these stories, and just keep going with that. And I think they'll be fine. And especially with the introduction of Fantastic Four and the X-Men, you have a whole lot of a wider range of things to do and more things for us fans to get excited about. So I think they'll be fine. What's bigger than Thanos? Galactus, build up slowly to that introduce some Krull, Scree stuff, do whatever you need to do. But I think they'll be fine. I think the hype is still there. They just need to lean into heavily talented creators and actors and producers and just people that are passionate about the projects.